Okay, let's do this again. Because I did this in another video, but I decided to do this in a separate video. So, if you are making a recipe that the ingredient is baking powder, but you don't have baking powder, you can sub baking soda for baking powder. Now, I didn't know that baking soda was stronger than baking powder. I did not know this. So, like, for every 1 teaspoon, the measuring teaspoon, for every 1 teaspoon of baking soda, you can use 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. 1/4 teaspoon. So if you don't have this, and is a recipe that requires this, that has this ingredient in it, you can use baking soda. Now, I didn't know that you can sub, but I wouldn't do it all the time, just until you get more baking powder. So I'm out of baking powder, so I have to use baking soda as a substitute. So for every teaspoon of baking powder, you use 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. So if you have a recipe that says 2 teaspoons, or even 1 tablespoon of baking powder, because one teaspoon, 3 of these make 1 tablespoon. So 3 of these, 1 teaspoon makes 1 tablespoon. So if you have a recipe that says 1 tablespoon of baking powder, you can use a 1/2 teaspoon. That's 2 1/4 cups, and then you can use the one. Oh, you need like 3/4 teaspoon. So that's this and this together. Okay. I hope I didn't lose some of y'all in this, right? So this is 3/4 teaspoon for one tablespoon of baking powder. You can use 3/4 teaspoon of baking soda. All right. For 1 teaspoon of baking powder, you can use 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. For every 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. Get it? Got it?